All right, we're back for our daily college basketball best bets here on the channel. It is Friday, December 13th, and again, we are back for more daily best bets for college basketball. Not the biggest slate today on Friday, but there are values in some of these games that we can take advantage of, and we are going to, of course, do that today. You know, we've got the Indiana Hoosiers playing the Nebraska Cornhuskers in the Big Ten, and our guys over there with South Dakota State are playing Colorado, so we'll break down and give you best bets for all of these games. But folks, first, if you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily college basketball best bets here on the channel. We're taking this thing all the way to March, so make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to join us in an hour for our NBA predictions on the channel as well. We have our NFL predictions up on the channel as well. That was posted yesterday. We have our college football bowl schedule we're predicting every single bowl game. So again, there's the schedule on the screen. We've already posted our Army-Navy game predictions plus the first two bowl games of the bowl season as well. And also make sure you go check out our MMA predictions. We're talking about PFL Europe. We're talking about UFC Tampa between Colby Covington and Joaquin Buckley. And also today is the final day to enter the $100 giveaway for 20,000 subscribers. This is your last day to enter. All you have to do, is subscribe to the channel and follow Greedo Plays by T as the first link on down below on Instagram. It's all you have to do is free to follow to enter the giveaway, and again, we'll draw a winner tomorrow. So make sure you join. Let's get on to our first game and our first best bet of the video. We go to North Andover, Massachusetts for Boston University and Merrimack. We are taking BU to win the game. We're taking them to cover. I don't feel great about BU winning, so really the pick here is BU to cover the 5.5 points. I don't think the spread should be this big for a game between Boston and Merrimack. I don't think Merrimack's that many points better than Boston University. It's a game, again, between two Massachusetts schools, Boston right there to Merrimack, and I do think they're able to stay competitive in this basketball game. Merrimack was a team who started 1-6 this season. They, picked up a win in their first game over Vermont, then lost to VCU, lost to Princeton, lost to Rutgers, lost to Butler, lost to UMass Lowell, and then beat UTSA, and we're going to talk about the Roadrunners later in this video as well. Merrimack, though, on a 3-game winning streak. They beat Troy on the road. They beat Canisius. They beat Niagara. Not the best teams, but they go out there and win those basketball games. And Adam Clark, who averages 20 points a game, is probably the best player on the court. Let's just be honest. Clark leads Merrimack in both assists and points. He averages 20 and 5, and he's been a really good player this year for the Merrimack Warriors. You got to give a shout out to Deion Savage as well, who's averaging 10 points a game, as well as their big. We're talking about Sean Trumper, who is, again, the main forward / center for this Merrimack squad. He's going to be the guy who's going to, grab all the rebounds for this team. But Adam Clark's been phenomenal for Merrimack. It's his second season with the Warriors. He is a true sophomore, played there last season, averaged, 13.5 points a game last year for Merrimack. Now he's averaging 20. Clark is probably the best player on the court. However, I do think Boston has the all-around better team. They've got Kyron Alexander, who's going to lead their team in points with 14 a night. You got Miles Brewster, who averages 10, and Michael McNair averaging 10 points a night as well. BU, again, feels like the all-around more well-rounded team to me personally. BU is coming off of their win against UAlbany a couple games ago on December 7th. Then, of course, they won against the NIA school on December 9th. But BU has put together 4 out of 5 victories in their last 5 games, obviously beating Howard, beating UMBC. Their only loss is at home to Sacred Heart, which isn't the best loss. And, BU played some really difficult teams to start the season. We're talking about UCLA, and then actually, I can't really say Northeastern's that tough of an opponent. And same with a team that's on our ban list in the San Diego Toros. They lost to Wagner by 2 points, beat Dartmouth by 28. I just feel like, again, I think this is too many points on either side. Again, the official pick is BU to win the basketball game. I wouldn't play that personally. I would play the plus 5.5 because I don't think either team here is able to get away from the other by that many points. I think, again, this is a very evenly matched basketball game. You get the 5-5 Terriers of Boston University taking on the 4-6 Merrimack Warriors. They beat similar teams though so far this season. These teams kind of, again, have, they're both kind of catching fire right now as well. And I think BU is able to stay in this basketball game. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know my Massachusetts geography, but let's do this together. Let's all look and see where North Andover, Massachusetts is, so we can do some more geography lessons daily here on the channel. There's 31,000 people in the city of North Andover, Massachusetts. Looks like a great town. How far is it away from Boston? It is, it's right there. This is I don't know This is probably a 45-minute drive from what I can get here. Oh, let me just look at the map. I do know like how far things are in DC. Oh, that's pretty far. So regardless, yeah, I think it's like a 45-minute drive. This is nothing. This is a relative home game for BU. Again, they're not technically playing at home, but this is not that far of a commute for them. I think they'll be fine in this basketball game. I don't think Merrimack's that much better than Boston University. Again, if BU is favored by 5.5 points, I'll be honest, I would take Merrimack as well. I just like the plus money here. I think it's a value play for Boston University. If you want to take the money line, again, I don't suggest it, but if you want the value play, take the plus 210 for Boston University. But I think the big play here, though, is plus 5.5 for BU. Again, I just don't think either of these teams are better than the other by 6 points. I think this game will go down to the final buzzer. I do think it's going to be a close game. If you force me on a pick, I will take BU. But again, that's more of a value play, if anything. We are taking the plus 5.5, though, for Boston University. That is the official bet for this game. Next up, we go to the Roadrunners of UTSA as they host the University of North Dakota. So we do have some repeat teams here, obviously, from just Wednesday. We have UND from the Summit League, and we are picking against the Summit League's own in UND because of their miserable performance against Utah Valley. Now, it was a weird game, and again, we fell into the trap, but it is what it is. North Dakota, right, beats Utah Valley earlier in the season. They beat them by 6 points. They play again on Wednesday night in Utah, and Utah Valley beats them by 23 points. Ridiculous. We are going to parlay that, though, and thinking, all right, UND looked horrible on the road against Utah Valley. They now have a home and home against UTSA. If they're going to win one of these games, it's going to be in North Dakota. They're not winning the one in San Antonio. That's my mindset for this one. On top of that, UTSA has been playing better basketball. They've been playing inspiring basketball. I know what you're thinking. Oh, this is a team that's 3-5 right now. If you look at the American standings, they are dead last. No team has played conference play yet. But regardless, they are dead last in the American Conference. Look at the teams they've played, though. Was this a rescheduled game? Interesting. This is a rescheduled game, I guess, from earlier in the season, November 9th. Regardless, it's fine. They're playing, I believe, they're still playing the home and home. Yeah, they go to UND on Sunday. But UTSA has been playing better basketball recently. You look at the beginning of the season, okay, it's bad. They beat Trinity, Texas. They lose to Bradley. They lose to Little Rock, lose to Troy. Those are not great losses, but they beat Merrimack, which, you know, depending on how you want to see Merrimack, they win that game. They beat Houston Christian, a team that we have bet on before and won with here on the channel. But I want to talk about the St. Mary's game. They go to Moraga, and they stay really competitive with the Gales in that basketball game. Again, they lose it, but it's a game that goes to overtime. And, you know, just me being around the area, I do keep track, you know, for the most part, as best I can here with Bay Area basketball. St. Mary's is probably the best team in the Bay right now. I would take them, I think I'd take them over Santa Clara. Yeah, definitely would. The one, Stanford is the one that'd be questionable, but no, they beat Stanford. St. Mary's is the best team right now in the Bay Area. They're better than San Francisco. USF sucks. I'm gonna say that. And San Jose State's god awful as well, and Cal is just absolutely miserable. St. Mary's is the best team in the Bay Area, and UTSA took this team down to the wire. St. Mary's, this was a done deal. St. Mary's is up in this basketball game against the Roadrunners by 20 points. It's in the second half. They're up by 20 points. UTSA goes on a huge run. They tie the game up to go into overtime, but then again, in that overtime period, the Gales took over and won again at home in Moraga. That's fine. UTSA then goes to Fayetteville. They lose, but again, only losing by 15 points to Arkansas. I know it's not a great loss, but going to an SEC town and staying relatively competitive and not getting blown out by 25 points is, you know, good for a team like UTSA. They now get the Fighting Hawks, who have looked really, you know, did not look good at all in the Utah Valley game. Now they have lost 4 out of 5. Their team that lost to Bethune-Cookman. Lost Southeastern Louisiana. Again, we picked against Bethune-Cookman yesterday with Virginia. Legacy cash, by the way, by Virginia. The Cavaliers cashed against Bethune-Cookman on the line. Southeastern Louisiana, we cashed against them the other night with the Raging Cajuns. Eastern Washington they lost to. You know, their only wins in the last 5 is Weber State, and trust me, we'll get to Weber State in a second. And UTSA has by far, I would say, the 3 best players in the court. I think. That might be a stretch to say they've got the 3 best players because Eagle staff, but they've got 3 out of the 4 top players in the court, I would say. Primo Spears is by far the best player on the court. He's going to be the best scorer on the court. He is averaging 23 points a game. He's doing it all for the UTSA offense right now. Then also, you get Jonavius Smith, who's grabbing 9 rebounds a game right now, and Marcus Millender, who's scoring 13 points. He is their point guard, right? Both the guards for UTSA are really great. Their guard play is, you know, phenomenal. And that's where they're going to dominate North Dakota, as well as against Smith cleaning up on the glass. Primo Spears is the best player on the court. You know, I talked up Trayson Eaglestaff the other day. Still a good basketball player, but I do think UTSA just has the better guys. And again, the game is in San Antonio. We like UTSA to win this one. If UND is going to steal one off the Roadrunners, it's going to be the one in North Dakota on Sunday. I'll be honest with you, we have a lot of college basketball on Sunday. This probably won't get a spot on the 5 best bets, but we get it here, and we're going to take advantage of it here with the UTSA Roadrunners to win this basketball game and cover the line as well. Give me UTSA to win and cover the 5.5 as well. Maybe we'll consider it on Sunday. We'll consider it. If we get a good line on UTSA on the road, I might take it. We'll see. Move on to our next game here. We go to the Big Ten. Nebraska, the Cornhuskers, take on the Indiana Hoosiers in Lincoln, Nebraska, and we are taking the Huskers to win the game. Home teams in the Big Ten have been playing phenomenally this season, regardless of the matchup. I'm serious. What we've seen so far at the Big Ten, the home teams usually get it done. We are taking the Huskers to beat Indiana. This honestly, though, isn't even me thinking, oh, okay, we have to take Nebraska because the game's in Lincoln. No, I do think Nebraska's better than Indiana. I don't think Indiana's that good. I know we picked them the other night to beat Minnesota. Sure, again, game's in Assembly Hall. It's in Bloomington. And Minnesota, again, Indiana I don't think is great. I think they're middle of the pack. They're bottom of the pack, but I think they're better than, of course, you know, Washington and Minnesota. Those two teams are by far the worst in the Big Ten right now. It feels like USC's not very good either, but I guess they're better than UW. Minnesota's a whole nother level of bad. Trust me, again, we will fade Minnesota the entire season. They are the worst team in the Big Ten. And that game between Indiana and Minnesota was the game that we are going to determine truly who the worst team in the B10 is. Obviously, again, it is the Golden Gophers. Indiana's got talent. I'm not denying that. Again, I watched every single game last year because I lived literally 2 minutes away from Assembly Hall. I could see Assembly Hall at my window. Actually, no, I couldn't see Assembly. I could see parts kind of Assembly Hall at my window. I could see the parking lot. So trust me, I'm very familiar with this Indiana team. But last year when they played in Nebraska goes on the road to Bloomington and they win. I mean, trust me, I cashed so much money sitting there on Keisei Tominaga and the guys. Tominaga didn't even have a big game against Indiana last year in Bloomington. It was, oh God, was it Gary who had a big game that night? Oh, I guess Tommy did lead them in points that night. Tommy scored 20 that night. I could have sworn Juwan Gary had a big night. Regardless, Tominaga, is Tommy still hanging around with the Pacers G League? I don't think he is. I don't know. Regardless, Nebraska beat Indiana twice last season. I kind of bandwagoned Nebraska last year just because, again, I was feeling the Tominaga magic. I kind of bandwagoned 2 teams going into the tournament. It was Nebraska and NC State. One of those 2 teams went to the Final Four. I'll be honest, I thought it was going to be, if I had to make a pick, on my bracket, I kid you not, I had Nebraska winning the entire thing just because I was in a pool with about 20 guys. I was like, if I'm gonna win the entire thing, I might as well send a Cinderella. And I had NC State and Nebraska in the Final Four. I cashed on, I had on NC State. No one else hit that, but Nebraska didn't really come through. They lost in the first round. Regardless, Nebraska beat Indiana twice last season. I think they're gonna make it 3 in a row. Right? I know Indiana, again, is on a little bit of a win streak here. They haven't lost since earlier in the season, or they haven't lost at home in a while. They now, of course, go on the road for this basketball game. And again, I'm not denying Indiana's got talent. Again, they added Omar Ballo in the offseason. And of course, you got Malik Reneau, you've got Mackenzie Mbako, you got Miles Rice, who's been playing well this season. Trey Galloway needs to go find a job. I'm half joking, but half serious at the same time. I don't know how he's back. I don't know how he got into their season. But Nebraska's playing good basketball. I would say, I think, actually the Michigan State game was bad. Other than the Michigan State game, if you don't look at the Michigan State game, Nebraska's played well this season, right? Like I'm just gonna ignore the Michigan State game up at East Lansing because different ball game. Again, Big Ten teams this year at home have been playing way better than they have on the road. So I'm just gonna ignore Nebraska going on the road to Michigan State. I'm gonna completely ignore it. They lost the game by literally 40 points. I'm gonna try to forget that, okay? Other than that loss to Michigan State, they had a close game they played earlier on the season where they lost to St. Mary's. Other than that, though, victories over Creighton on the road, a team that, yes, did beat Kansas this season, right? A win over the South Dakota Coyotes, a win over North Florida, FDU, Bethune-Cookman, UT Rio Grande Valley. Oh, this isn't helping my case at all. But Indiana, trust me, guys, Indiana's not that good. They're not. Their best wins this season are what? Minnesota at home, Providence, South Carolina at home. Indiana's a much different team on the road, guys. This is the first time they've had to go to a road environment all season. Sure, again, they played their tournament over Thanksgiving, but this is the true first road game for IU all year. They are not going to deliver. This is a place where they got blown out last season. Even in Bloomington, they played very poorly against Nebraska. It was a weird, I think, Wednesday night game, if I'm not mistaken. Was it Wednesday night? I think it was a Wednesday night. I think it was. I like what Nebraska's got, man. I like Bryce Williams. I like Juwan Gary. I know Gary hasn't been phenomenal this season, but Juwan Gary, again, should break out eventually. And Bryce Williams has been playing great basketball this season, averaging 17.5 points a game. We like the Nebraska Cornhuskers to take care of business. Again, Big Ten teams have been playing much better at home this season. And on top of that, Nebraska is just better than Indiana. We'll take Nebraska on the spread. I think they win this game by about 8 points. We're going to take them -4.5 and to win the game outright as well. Next up, we go on it to... just one hell of a basketball game, guys. This is one of the games of all time. We've got the Weber State Wildcats, probably most known, obviously, for being the alma mater of Damian Lillard, taking on the Utah Tech Trailblazers. Funny how things work. I know he plays for the Bucks now. This is one of the games of all time. I don't know what to say about it. No, we're taking Utah Tech. Just because they're at home. Simply put, I think Utah Tech's getting a little bit disrespected on the line here because they have been playing some really good teams recently and they've been losing. Sure, Portland State. They lost at Boise. They got blown out. They got blown out at Utah State. They did beat Denver the last time they were at home, and I am going to negate my statement there by saying that they lost to CSU Northridge at home earlier this season as well, which doesn't really look too great. The New Mexico State loss actually in the beginning of the season doesn't look all that bad now, obviously, with the Aggies' victory against the Lobos this year. But I'm picking this more of, I think these teams are even, and you get the game in Utah. Weber State's away from, God, where's Weber State? Is Weber State in Oregon? I think it is, right? Yeah, it's in Oregon. It's in Ogden, Oregon. Okay, just making sure. Regardless, the Dame's shoes that they came out with, Adidas came out with, I was I think in middle school when the Weber States came out. Oh, those were great when I used to play basketball. Never bought them. I wore Hardens instead. Regardless, Weber State, I don't think they're much better than Utah Tech, if at all. I mean, I know we were hyping up UND a little bit, but they lost to North Dakota on the road. They got North Dakota State at home, and don't get me wrong, the Bison, great team, obviously went to Indianapolis and went to beat Butler, and they've gone on the road to Santa Clara and beat, again, the Broncos. North Dakota State's not a bad team. Weber lost to them. Their wins, Pepperdine, I'm gonna be honest, Pepperdine victory does not move me at all. A win over Bowling Green, not a bad win. Lost to Irvine, lost to Hawaii on the road, lost to Nevada. I think actually the Hawaii game might have been a tournament. Lost to Hawaii, lost to Nevada, got blown out, got blown out against Oregon State. They beat Northwestern Indian. I don't know what the hell that is. They beat Northwestern Indian 118-35. What happened? Where is the Northwest Indian Redhawks? Where is this? They don't even have a Wikipedia page. It's insane. Give me Utah Tech here. Again, I think these are two evenly matched teams, and we do get to play Utah Tech here at plus money. Again, stay away if you're concerned about betting on a 2-9 basketball team. I completely get it. There's only like 7 games today. But Beyond Riley, if you're going to watch this game at 6 o'clock tonight, Beyond Riley is the best player, I think, on this court. I think on both teams. I get it. Weber State's got this guy named Blaze who's averaging 18 points a game. No, Beyond Riley's the best player on the court. He's a guy who's a much more physical player. He's going to chase the rebounds, and he's going to score as well. He's averaging 14 points a night. He averages 8 rebounds as well. Beyond Riley's the best player on the court in this basketball game, okay? He put up 22 in the win over the loss against Portland State, put up 18 in the win over Denver. This guy is going to be the best player on the court. Had a poor game against Boise. That's fine. He should be able to bounce back tonight for this Utah Tech squad. And I think, again, Utah Tech should be okay in this basketball game against Weber State. Again, you get the game in Utah. Weber's away from home. And I think, again, Utah Tech does have the best player on the court in Beyond Riley. He did not play the Utah State game, but I believe he is playing tonight. If I'm not mistaken, I've not seen anything saying he's not playing tonight, so I assume he's playing. Give me Utah Tech to win at home here against Weber State. We get them at plus money, plus 2.5. Again, we like the home team in this basketball game to go out here and pick up the victory. We go into our final game of the night, and yes, we are back here with the boys from Brookings. We're talking about the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. I know, I've seen the comments, I've seen the disappointment and the frustration around South Dakota. I understand. Trust me, we're gonna win a lot of money when Summit League play starts with the Jacks. Trust me. And when they go to Tuscaloosa later this year, or on the 29th, I'm telling you, we're gonna cash on the spread for South Dakota State. Okay, people aren't gonna be ready for it. Okay, trust me though, you don't have to see the Jackrabbits for another 16 days after today. So if you're getting sick of the Jackrabbits, they go away for 16 days, and we'll see them again when they play Alabama. And then you're gonna see them a lot when Summit League play starts, because we are hammering the Jackrabbits every night. I understand the Nevada game was absolutely horrible. Trust me, I watched it. It was abysmal. Okay, I completely understand. The team completely fell apart in the second half. They're up by 9 points in the second half. And they got outscored by 21 points. Ended up losing the game by 14. Not only sold the money line, sold the spread as well. I get it. I was very disappointed in the Jackrabbits. I've not been that disappointed since they lost to West Illinois in 2017 with that team, or 2018 with that team with Mike Dahm and David Jenkins and Skylar Flatten. Yes, I have not, and they lost in Austin at the Moody Center to Texas in the NIT. I have not been that disappointed in South Dakota State since then, okay? I get it. It was bad. Oscar Clough had a horrible basketball game. They didn't even feed him inside. He went 3 for 3, 6 points, didn't really do anything, was in foul trouble. It was bad, okay? The shooting at South Dakota State, though. We're talking about Owen Larson and Joe Saylor. These are the guys that are going to keep this game competitive against Colorado. Those guys, and Matthew Morris, by the way. Matthew Morris shot lights out as well. Joe Saylor's not going to have another game where he shoots 4 for 12, I don't think. And I don't think Owen Larson's going to go 3 for 9 again. I think those guys are going to bounce back in this basketball game. I know we're asking a lot. At South Dakota State, a team that couldn't even cover the 10.5 points against Nevada, we're asking them to cover the 8.5 points against Colorado. Might be a hot take. I think Colorado's better than Nevada. I really do think they are. I think this is more, though, of a South Dakota State's going to play better in this basketball game. Trust me, again, I know I'm selling you a lot here in South Dakota State, but stick with me here. I think they are able to go to Boulder and win this basketball game. That is a very ballsy play. The plus 8.5, sure. Here's why. I think South Dakota State matches up really well with Colorado. I do think they do. Colorado's a defensive team, sure. They play good defense, but they win low-scoring basketball games for the most part. That's what they've been doing recently. Again, Colorado State win the Pacific win, and I get it. South Dakota State scored 63 points in their last game. They scored 74 in the Eastern Washington game. But still, this is a more high-tempo offense and a team that should be able to outpace Colorado in this basketball game. So I do think, again, South Dakota matchup-wise, they shoot a lot of threes, and they will feed it inside to Clough as well. We'll see, again, what impact Oscar Clough has in this basketball game, because we're going to sure need it. But when you can get, again, the shooters involved, we're talking about Matthew Morris, we're talking about Owen Larson, we're talking about Joe Saylor. Saylor, again, the best out the three. If we can get those guys involved, play high-tempo pace, and again, immediately get shots up, because that's again what South Dakota State does so well, and that's why they were so successful in that first half against Nevada. I think they'll be okay. I don't think South Dakota State has another collapse in the second half like they did in Reno. I don't think it's going to happen again. In Colorado, I don't think they have the firepower really, and this might be a hot take, it definitely is, to keep up with South Dakota State. I mean, I really don't think they do. I think South Dakota State's going to outpace this basketball team. Might be a hot take, it definitely is. But I mean, what, is Julian Hammond just going to keep Colorado in this game? I don't think so. You know, I think we're okay here with the Jackrabbits. I think we are. Again, if you don't want to take the money line, I completely get it. It's plus 320. Take the plus 8.5, okay? And if it doesn't hit, I will shut up about the Jackrabbits until they play Alabama, because they don't play again until that. And they play NIAA next. But again, yes. If this doesn't hit again, I will shut up about the Jackrabbits until after Christmas. We're going to give it one more shot. We're taking the Jacks. I don't think Oscar Clough has another bad game like that. And again, we saw the success and the confidence building out of Matthew Morris in that game against Nevada. Saylor and Larson, I don't think they're going to have that poor efficiency nights again, even though they did both hit 7 threes combined to hit 7 threes. I think, again, they're going to be much more efficient, and they're not going to brick as many shots as they did against Nevada in the second half. I think we're going to be fine in this game in Boulder. It can be South Dakota State to shock the world. Again, this is such a Cinderella team this year. They're going to shock somebody, so why not tonight? It can be South Dakota State to go on the road to Colorado and beat the Buffs to finish out here our 5 best bets for Friday, December 13th. So, folks, thank y'all for watching our 5 best bets again for December 13th. If you haven't now yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks, folks. Thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.